Well, we haven't seen you since before Christmas, so thank you for joining us. Hope you all had a great Christmas and New Year's. So our guests today are from the Union Rescue Mission. We have Reverend David Ziler and his beautiful wife, Andrea, with us today. So we have lots of questions, so let's just get right to it. Reverend Ziler, Andrea, thank you for being with us on Hope Rising.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. All right, so we've heard at one time that the Union Rescue Mission was the only homeless shelter in 5 counties. Is this true information?
Absolutely, yeah, it's true. There's other like domestic violence shelters and battered women shelters, but we're the only true homeless shelter. We impact up from Morgantown. We get people from Breezewood, Petersburg, West Virginia. I mean, we get people from all over the place.
That's just amazing. Now, what is the difference between the year-round shelter and the cold weather shelter? And can you give us the dates of the cold weather shelter?
Yeah.
Okay.
The year-round shelter, there's stipulations. They have to be sober to stay there. They have to attend church services. They have to participate in tour lists, things like that. There's expectations for them to stay with us, and they can stay night after night. They don't have to check in and check out. They can just keep staying with us. But the overnight shelter, or the cold weather shelter, it's a check in at 10 and leave at 7, and they don't really have to follow any rules. We just don't want anybody to freeze to death during the cold weather months. From November 1st to April 1st is usually the guidelines we go off of.
Okay, so we've got about a good 6-month window that we can help people in our community stay out of the cold at night.
Absolutely.
All righty, that's great. So how many people can you house at the cold weather shelter, and how do you group the people, men, women, families? How does that happen?
We try to do men in one room, and we have 12 permanent beds set up for that, and then we put an additional 5 up, and we've been running about 17 a night right now. Okay. We usually don't have many women. Every now and then we'll get 1 or 2, and we can either use the playroom up in the women's dorm and put cots up, or we can use the chapel if there's no men in that. We use the chapel as our overflow for our men if we have any extras. So if that space is available, we can put women in there as well, and we never put children in the cold weather shelter. Just because of the security purposes. We always try to get them into a secure room.
Okay, that's good thinking. Very good. All righty, Andrea, if you don't mind chiming in on this one, how many meals does the Union Rescue Mission serve per day?
Per day, we normally serve somewhere between 200 and 250 a day. Okay. Every once in a while we drop below 200, but it has been fairly consistent over the past like 5 or 6 months that we've been 200 plus every day.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, how many men does the year-round shelter house, and how many women or families does the year-round shelter house?
We can house 26 men. We can have a total of 62 beds. 26 of those are men, and then the women, we have 8 rooms that are available to them, just all depending on the breakdown of mother with kids and how many there is, depending on how many beds we have full in that. But yeah, we have 8 rooms for families, and we have 26 beds for men.
That's awesome. Are there programs to help people get out of the homeless situation and on the road to independence?
There's absolutely programs. Right now, we are working and partnering with Western Maryland Health Systems on a program. It used to be Bridges to Opportunity, and what's it called?
Getting Ahead.
Getting Ahead program now. Okay. They've been coming to the mission. They've run 2 cycles of it. The graduation was actually this afternoon at 12:30. And so that's mandatory for the people who stay in our residential program. They have to take that program.
Great.
And it's 20 sessions that help them get interview skills, help them get IDs, birth certificates, get connected with the resources they might need. And then hopefully that fosters them an ability to get a job and start using bank accounts and things like that.
That's awesome. So that's through the Western Maryland Health System.
Correct.
Yes.
What a great partnership.
Yes, absolutely.
That's fabulous. All right, let's talk about the chapel services. So are there any chapel services? How are they run at this shelter? And are there area churches that are participating in this?
Yeah, chapel services are mandatory for residents in our residential program, not for cold weather shelter people. It's optional for them, but mandatory for our residents. And they operate Tuesday night, Thursday night, and Sunday morning. Okay. And it's all done by area churches. That's all handled by all the churches coming together and taking a turn.
That's great. So there's certain days of the week then, and certain mornings that you have the chapel?
We have chapel services Tuesdays and Thursdays in the evenings, and then Sunday mornings every morning.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Andrea. So if a church wanted to start participating, would they call you, or who should they speak with?
Me or Andrew, they can call either one of us, and we will look at our schedule to see where we have openings. Maybe a church couldn't do it a couple months, and we plug somebody else in. Or if we get enough to fill all the days we have already, we'll start a new day of the week. we'd be happy to have chapel service every night of the week if we could get that many churches involved. But right now we're Tuesdays, Thursdays, Sunday mornings, and if we fill that up, we'll move to another day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Great goal. That's great. Well, thank you for all of that information about the mission. So now we know there's the upcoming Super Bowl, and I want to give a little information. So for the viewers watching today, the Super Bowl is pretty near and dear to our family's heart. In 2011, my husband was actually pastoring in Garrett County, and a homeless couple called him asking for gas money to stay in their car all night long. The lady was pregnant, they had a toddler. They just wanted to stay in their apartment was going to be ready like in 2 weeks. So my husband put them up in a hotel because he didn't want this lady that's pregnant and the toddler to be in the car and all that. So anyway, after the 2 weeks, they got in their apartment. But it really got us thinking, what do homeless people do? How do they find help and assistance? So we went down to the Union Rescue Mission at the time, and we asked, what are the needs? What can we do to help? And at that time, they needed things like pillows and blankets and washcloths and things. So we came up with the idea of the Pillow Palooza, and that was back in 2011. So I called and got a hold of businesses, churches, schools, and it was really well received. So that gave us a base of people. And then at the end of that program, I asked at the time, Reverend Taylor was the director, and I asked him, what does the mission need? And he said, they always need food, right? So then I came up with the idea, Lord inspired, of course, for the Super Bowl, and it was born in 2012. It was the first Super Bowl, and again, that base of churches and schools and businesses that helped with the Pillow Palooza jumped on board and helped with the Super Bowl. Basically, what we were asking for was the restaurant-sized cans, like the big number 10. They're known as number 10 cans that could be like 6 pounds of beans or corn or anything like this. Rice, beans, spaghetti, anything that the kitchen at the Union Rescue could use, not open up 20 little cans of green beans or something, but nice big containers to make a big vat of soup. So during that time, that was 2012, that we started the Super Bowl. The foods were donated. Walmart jumped on board, the LaVale Walmart. Thank you, Donald Gross, and Jeff Corbett. They have been on since the very beginning, getting behind us. And Reverend Ziler will share more about Walmart in a little bit. But the schools, the churches, the businesses would gather up foods, and they would let us come. At the beginning, our family went and collected from all these different places, and we would bring the foods to my house. We spread the foods out all over the great room, the porch, the living room, the foyer. It was everywhere. And we would sort and organize boxes of beans, boxes of corn, rice, and all this. And then Atlantic Broadband, they let us borrow their big flatbed truck. The boxes were loaded in by a bunch of volunteers. It went to a weigh station, and that's how every year we figured out how much foods were donated. They would subtract the weight of the trucks from the food. So this was how it started out in the beginning. And after about 5 years, I felt the Lord directed me on to something new. And so God bless Stephanie Kleiss. She stepped up and she let me hand the ladle to her. So Stephanie Kleiss is now the coordinator for the Super Bowl. It's continuing on, and God is blessing her efforts. We love you, Stephanie. Wish you could be with us today, but she's working. So we're sending love and prayers to you. So that's a little bit of the background of the Super Bowl. Now, the Super Bowl is coming up. We geared it towards the NFL Super Bowl time. So we're going to switch back now to Reverend Ziler. So would you mind sharing with us the dates of the Super Bowl for this year? Okay.
Yeah, the dates that we have designated for is January 13th through February 3rd.
Okay.
That's based around Super Bowl, and then drop off at the mission the 4th, the week of the 4th, but we're trying to designate it to one day so we don't have to have as many volunteers throughout the week. Sure. So the 4th is drop off. If churches are collecting, if organizations are collecting, they can drop off the 4th, and then take up a collection for us from the 13th through the 3rd. And then Walmart is, I think, actually the 14th is when they're going to have their display out for us.
Right.
And they're going to put out a display that all you got to do is pick up a brown bag, pay for it, and drop it in the bin. And we'll have runners going up and picking up the food and weighing it. And it's been really amazing. The seed that God had planted with you has grown into something pretty awesome.
It is. We just really thank God that He has taken this and it's carrying on and growing more exponentially. We're glad to hear that, really, truly. It's like anything God starts, it's going to grow when His blessing is on it and help feed our community. That's what we want to see. So to get a hold of Stephanie Kleiss, so the email address, it's friendsofurm@gmail.com, correct? And that's all uppercase, Friends of URM for Union Rescue Mission, all right? So if y'all want to jot that down, friendsofurm@gmail.com. Also, I'd like to give you Stephanie Kleiss's phone number. It's on the literature that she's sending out. So Stephanie's phone number is 240-522-4129. And I'll repeat that again. Stephanie Kleiss, C-L-I-S-C, 240-522-4129. So she can give you some more information about things if your school, your church, your organization would like to participate, things that they could really use at the mission. We want to be supportive of them. You guys, that is just awesome. We're just so appreciative of basically what the mission is doing. The Super Bowl, great things ahead. So if people wanted to send a donation, would they just get a hold of the Friends at Union Rescue Mission?
They can call our office.
Okay.
Stephanie runs the Super Bowl for us. But if you're doing anything with the mission, just specifically like volunteering or wanting to send a donation, just contact our office at 301-724-1585 or stop by, see us. I mean, we'd love to sit and chat with volunteers and people in our community who want to help. And we can lay our vision out and where we're hoping God takes us and where we feel like He's leading us, and get to share more about that stuff if we're talking in person.
That's awesome. That's great. Reverend Ziler, would you run that number by us one more time,
please?
Please?
The number is the phone number is 301-724-1585, and then if they just want to send a donation, just make it a check payable to the Union Rescue Mission, and send it to P.O. Box 1614, Cumberland, Maryland.
1614 Cumberland, Maryland. That's great. So if you have a Union Rescue in your location, a homeless shelter, get on board, help them, because it's such a good thing to give. You know, it's like better to give than receive, right? So you want to give and help in your community. Now, for those of you who watch every week, you know I leave you with a Bible verse. And today's verse, we're using the New English Translation, which usually we're New Living, but today we're going with the New English Translation. The verse is from Proverbs 19:17. One who is gracious to the poor lends to the Lord, and the Lord will repay him for his good deed. Again, that's from Proverbs 19:17. We want to give. The Lord gives great interest, great dividends, so it's a good thing to give as unto the Lord. Thank you all for joining us. We're so happy you're spending your time with us again. Next week, we're going to have from the LaVale Lions, we have a Mr. Elwood Glass and a gentleman, Mr. Martin, that's coming down from Columbia, Maryland, to tell us the good works that the Lions Club do in our community. It's going to be really eye-opening to hear all they do. God bless you. Join us again next week. Bye-bye for now.